Hello? Oh. So today I'm finally speaking on behalf of my community, over 2,800 of whom voiced their opposition to the Bounds Green LTN by signing the petition. With each new LTN you impose on us, you continue to ignore the same concerns: the increase in pollution, the massive increase in traffic on sacrificial roads, the impact on local businesses, and the feedback of the residents who are living in your poorly designed LTNs. With each new LTN you introduce, you create a domino effect, worsening the situation for all your constituents. Councillor Ahmed, you are not doing this with us, you are doing this to us. And what's worse, you know exactly what you're doing. Haringey's own statement of reason for the implementation of the Bounds Green LTN states that it was introduced in 2022 because of the Enfield-Bowes LTN, which was introduced 2 years earlier, which led to traffic diverting through Bounds Green to act as the A406. Enfield traffic is not evaporating. Haringey's traffic is not evaporating, yet you stick to the script that it will. If not within 6 months or even after 2 years, then when? How many years will you sacrifice residents of boundary roads to increase pollution before you accept that they don't work? While we've seen no sign of the evaporation, we have seen is the negative impact on residents. The last time the council actually heard the residents complain was at the Environment Scrutiny Panel back in the fall. As protesters against the scheme were rallying outside, first-hand accounts of the suffering you have caused to disabled groups and their carers were shared. It highlights that even if you are exempt, you still have to sit in traffic for needless hours, often in terrible pain, and that's even if you can secure transport or, in fact, afford it due to the added cost and the additional mileage for time spent in traffic. Councillor Hakata seems so proud on videos of the huge list of exemptions to the scheme, yet it fails to realize that he is openly admitting that the nightmare it has created. If it worked, you would not need all the exemptions. Never mind how complicated the website to obtain these exemptions is and how misinformed the residents are about them. Then there's the reoccurring reports of exempting residents still receiving PCNs due to system failures, which is creating additional stress for residents in the middle of a cost of living crisis. And we can't ignore the adverse impact of the LTN has had on public transport. We now have fewer buses on our roads, taking longer to get anywhere. As per frustrated bus drivers, some routes are taking as much as 3 times longer than before the LTN trial started. We know that TfL met with Arriva and the council to change the target, but massaging the targets is not the answer. Solving the problems you created is the answer. Stop greenwashing the aims and admit that Haringey's LTNs don't work. The only positive that we can see is for the council. Over the past 6 months, over £500,000 in fines have been generated from the Bounds Green LTN trial alone, and that's not even the most profitable LTN in Haringey. This sounds like a much more likely reason for implementing the scheme. It sounds even more plausible when we see that the funds from these LTN fines have already been budgeted for the next several fiscal years to help support the council. But still, Haringey's social media team is constantly asking for feedback to justify the scheme, no doubt spending vast amount of taxpayer money. But are you actually listening? The original consultation in Bounds Green showed that 65% of residents were against the LTN, yet the trial forged on. It's not surprising when it's been disclosed that Sustran, a charity which manages the National Cycle Network, was hired for the project. Even the website of their professional arm of the charity is clear in its statement that they are a strong advocate for active travel. This is not an impartial partner when it comes to running a consultation for the LTN. More recently, a manual examination of the commonplace consultation showed that 72% of respondents were unhappy or very unhappy with the LTN. Will this latest consultation actually be listened to, or will it be swept under the rug like the other ones? It appears that at no point have you actually listened to the consultation, objections, feedback, petitions, or in fact the evidence you can see with your own eyes that these schemes are not working. While you keep saying you're listening, none of you seem to comprehend what's being said. The residents want to be heard. They want real answers, not canned responses. We're tired of councillors who are ignoring us, we're not responding to legitimate questions or emails, and hiding behind statements saying they're scared or threatened by the angry protesters, and using this as an excuse to actively engage and follow due process, like listening to this petition and others in a timely manner. I've been to nearly every protest in Haringey about the LTNs, starting back in August and the one at the Corium, where I was meant to present this petition. I stood outside in the cold for hours, pleading with the staff to check the list and let me in and another speaker as we were on the agenda to present. No one from the council came outside to speak to the crowd, a crowd that comprised, amongst others, of children, people in wheelchairs, and religious representatives. Those are the people you're claiming to be afraid of or threatened by. These are not militant protesters. They're everyday people, and they're just asking to be heard by the people who were elected to represent them. Please think of what will be destroyed while you pursue this counterproductive policy against the will of the people. You'll probably lose some seats, and think about of all the people who now know your names have now engaged with local politics in an unprecedented way and who now understand how we've directly harmed their lives, but also think of the lasting damage doing to the community as a whole. While you spin the betting in lie, in 18 months' time, there won't be on any shops to walk to Middleton Road. The traders have already told you how this has negatively impacted their business. A one-time flyer to less than 10,000 people won't revive the high street that you're destroying. You will have demolished a community that you claim to support.
Sorry to interrupt, but your 5 minutes is up. If you just finish your sentence.
30 seconds. So already 3 traders have already shut their doors due to the downturn suffered by the implementation, and 60% have seen their income drop by 40% or more. If the trial lasts 18 months, the high street will no longer exist. After 6 months of betting in, it's clear that the LTNs don't work and the trial needs to be ended immediately. The only thing you've achieved so far is united a diverse community by introducing us to each other and uniting us against the LTNs.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine.